My name is Jennifer Muhuruzi Bigirwa, and I work with the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, and specifically in the Accountant General's office. And this is an office that is also responsible for the government investments. So that's how also we come in to interact with L'Oreal and Atiak. So we received a request from L'Oreal, and they needed a board representative, and the permanent secretary and secretary to the Treasury appointed me as one of the board members who will be sitting on that board to oversee the operations and functions in there, given that government has an interest in that investment, especially the Atiak Sugar Factory, which is one of our flagship projects. So that's how I come to be on the board. Jennifer is an employee of the government of Uganda, and working currently heading the responsibility of the Director Treasury Services and Asset Management. This is an office that is under the Accountant General's office. And as acting director, you deputize the Accountant General in his functions. And one of the functions which is under Treasury Services is managing the state-owned enterprises. And through our investment in UDC, then it directly comes under this responsibility of this office. I have been in public sector for the last 20 years, working for the government of Uganda. In fact, to be exact, it is for the last 23 years. I have been working at the Ministry of Public Service and doing the various roles at the Treasury, in operations, in the votes or the entities. So I would say that I have gone through many of these, evolving processes of government. I've seen government evolve from one to the other, and many of these investments that we have handled, we have been around, we have guided and monitored and supervised. So that is what we have been doing. Of course, in addition to that, we are also responsible for the operations of the back office, and that involves for debt management of this country, reporting and recording of the debt, and analyzing, preparing reports for the public debt or the national debt of this country. And I would think maybe for now, those are the key responsibilities. And of course, as director also under Treasury Services and Asset Management, we foresee the assets of government. And the assets of government include both physical and financial. Under the physical assets, that's where you have things like motor vehicles, you have buildings, you have all these other things that you can actually see and touch, movable and immovable equipment. But then under investments, that is where now you have those financial investments. That's where you have those companies where government has an interest. So clearly you can see then that's where we come in. An interest as in shareholding. Yeah, so those are also government assets. And it is still the responsibility of the Accountant General, deputized by the Director, to make sure that we take good stock of what government owes and owns. And for obvious reasons, because some of these investments, either they give us a return or a liability. So if you're not monitoring, then you're not able to plan for such investments, both physical and financial. So I would think that maybe suffices. First, maybe I can come back again to that. As I mentioned earlier, as somebody who is responsible for the investments of government, and those are the financial assets, then you definitely play a role in trying to record and report on what government owns. So when a request came through, and having done that for some years, I think then the PS deemed it necessary and fit that I should be the one to represent us onto the board. For the experience that we have talked about in financial management, being that we are in Accountant General's office, and given that the Ministry of Finance, of course, is coming in specifically really to oversee from that area. There are other ministries which are going to play other roles in the project, but in terms of the financial management issues, the Accountant General's Office and the Director responsible for Treasury Services and Asset Management was the most, I think, fit to be able to come to the board. And given the experience that I have had also serving on other boards and trying to see how we can really support these investments where we have an interest. Yeah. Serving on the board has been very exciting and very insightful, I must say, for the time I have been on the board. First of all, as a person, I've been able, to appreciate. I have been able to appreciate the project and the program. We now want to stop calling it project. We want to call it a program because it is touching many areas that are close to our heart. So we want to call it the program. So I have been able to appreciate quite a number of, issues and the operations that are going on. And from what I see, I think Atiak Sugar Factory is going to be a game changer in the future from now as we go forward. I am excited, together with my other colleagues, to see that we have moved into irrigation and mechanization. And I think we are addressing a very big challenge that is going to take us into the future with a lot of certainty and sustainability. So that to me is very important and very, very critical in terms of the success of this project. So I see us again, I envision ourselves again as Atiak Sugar Factory continuing to be innovative and creative and also to leverage on the technology that is out there as we serve the communities and also serve the bigger goal of this government. I see us stabilizing the sugar industry into, again, of course, being also very, sustainable. And not forgetting the bigger goal at the national level, and the reason why this ministry is very interested, looking at improving, of course, the livelihoods, and also looking at the economic development, socio-economic development overall, both domestically and internationally. As in, we are going to be improving the revenue inflows to this government, and that is what we have been yearning to do, increasing the tax base and all that. So Atiak Sugar Factory is coming in that space. Yes, GDP. So Atiak is coming into that space, and we are excited to see that because, of course, we are going to be paying the taxes, the VAT, the excise duty, the pay as you earn, and all the others. And then externally, we are going to have sugar that we are going to be exporting. Excess sugar, there's no doubt about that. So when we export, then we earn foreign exchange. We have been very short on that. So that is why we're saying that this is a very strategic investment for the future as we really try, to improve our GDP going forward. I believe that this is the right path, and of course to appreciate this, one needs to understand what has been happening to the agriculture sector. I'm not going to single it out to the industry or to the sugar sector and all that, where of course we have learned, and we keep saying that agriculture is the backbone of this country, but we know that we are faced with so many challenges, and the Atiak Sugar Factory was not going to be an exception, given that we are in sugarcane growing. So we're not going to be an exception to the challenges that the sector faces. And the challenge is the variations in the seasons, in the weather conditions, where the rains come and sometimes they don't come. So given that that is one of the big challenges, I see we are moving in the right direction by addressing this through irrigation and also mechanization. Of course, as you may be aware, we have been having a very big vision of, commercial agriculture, but the way we've been doing it was really, we had thought that we'd use subsistence way of getting in there. And that can be a very big challenge if you're looking at the bigger picture of having a sustainable production of sugar and then exporting it to earn, the other revenues. So that's why the issue of mechanization comes in very handy, because then it means that you invest, but there's value for money. So there's value for money in this investment. First you invest, that is another issue that has to be looked at, but then at the end of the day we are able now to resolve the challenges of subsistence, growing and all that. And then you touched on irrigation, so we are able to mitigate the challenges of the weather issues, and we will be having water throughout. We are now not going to depend on rain to do agriculture, and as we've heard, people keep crying out, oh, we need rain. Actually, we don't need rain, we need water. So now, with this, we are availing ourselves, the water that is much needed in such a mechanized project like this. And to me, that could not have been a better decision at this point in time. I am aware of the challenges that we have been facing with the way the sugar industry has been set up. And when I look around, most of them depend on outgrowers. Meaning that you come in, you have some land which you're growing on your cane, but also in your projections and in your planning, you also include that those surrounding you will also be contributing to this. This has a bit of challenge, and one of them is the unreliability of that cane which you're supposed to get from them. And without a good policy really to govern you and them, or contract, or whatever you want to call it, then it creates uncertainty in terms of your projections for having the cane. And of course also the other one is the natural vagaries, the nature rather. So if you project that they will supply you and then the season is bad, then it means there's nothing they can do for you, they cannot supply you. So by us moving into the direction of having the cane ourselves, investing in having the land to ourselves, going into irrigation and mechanization, already we are trying to solve that challenge of using the outgrowers model. And one bit about Atiak Sugar Factory is you are not abandoning the outgrowers completely, because we know that we actually have really the responsibility to make sure that we improve the livelihoods of those that are around us, so as they can also support the project as we also support them. So we now go into setting up this Holial Foundation, and the way this is envisioned, it will be able to support those that are able to those that are surrounding us. And of course also one has to go back to the issues. Why would somebody want to be an outgrower? Why they want to be outgrowers, or why they go into that, is because they see ready market. So the way the program is scheduled to run, I think then we are going to have these farmers around us growing their crops, and then we come in to support them. And also the other issue is about the equipment which we are going to be sharing with them, because we have excess capacity. So we'll be sharing with them and making it easy for them. So the whole idea of having a foundation to me is very exciting, and it is also a game changer, because I had not seen it in many of these setups, the ones that we do have here. So it is something that should really, that many people will want to learn from. And the benefits, of course, are there. So you're keeping the farmers in the value chain, and you're not abandoning them. So they are happy to support you, and you're also supporting them. But also, you are solving the challenge of them also holding you at ransom or suffering natural, challenges, and they are not able to help you achieve the objective of having them in there. The message to the people really is we must support this program. We must support it for obvious reasons. One, when you look at the objectives, you're going to improve the livelihoods of the people in northern Uganda. And that to me is very important, because if you have another part of the region which is not stable, then that affects all of us. So that's number one, why we must support this project. It is very well designed, and it is taking care of the needs of the people out there, especially the vulnerable groups, and also addressing the government's objective or goal of having inclusive economic growth in the rural areas. So through the foundation, they will be able to be included in the growth that we are talking about, or that we are seeing. Then at the government level, of course, looking at our big objective of industrialization, agro-industrialization, this is one of the projects that, flagship projects that we are looking at. And this is going to help us to stabilize the sugar industry, and also will be able to earn exports at the end of the day, which will all feed into the economic development of this country.